Welcome, SarbJeet. We are thrilled to have you.
Hi, Vanessa.
So we'll start with our first question. SarbJeet, you have global experience working with various businesses. So do you think AI-driven customer service is given the importance it deserves by startups as compared to an established organization?
I think it has been given enough attention based upon where AI is these days, right? And it's always hard to say that where the maturity of a technology is and where the maturity in consumption side is. There's always a disconnect, I think, to a certain extent. Sometimes technology is ahead, and the consumers are not aware of all the capabilities. I believe that the information about where the AI is or what can it do in the context of customer service or CRM related applications is not people are not getting educated enough on that. Like, what are the capabilities? I think once those are clear, people will hop onto the solutions. I think I usually say that to compete your competition, you have to out educate the market. So vendors have to do a better job at educating the market what it can do for them. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you think users will adapt to this? How long do you think users will take to adopt technology?
Yeah, and the adoption is always it goes on a curve, right? The early adopters usually hop onto it like people who are more risk takers, because at the end of the day, people are making these decisions like what technology to buy and when and how much to spend on it, right? So it's based upon, luckily or unluckily, on people's choices, right? So some people will jump in early and some people will wait for technology to mature. I think, but if you want to know from my side like what the patterns are, patterns wise, what happens is the few verticals, what we call it, usually they adopt technology like faster than others. For example, in financials, they will adopt the technology faster than any other vertical, right? So in healthcare, they will be very slow adopting such technologies, and in education, will be slower growth. But with what's going on in the world these days, right? Everybody has to adapt to such technologies. Like they have to digitize their operations these days because of the coronavirus, right? So, but I think eventually, lot of verticals like will adopt it, and most of them, right? But in the short term, few verticals will adopt it more than others. And yeah, and then I cannot tell you the time frame, like how long it will take. But another thing I want to mention is that AI is an overloaded term, right? So there's a general AI, which is replacing human intelligence totally. And there's a machine learning. It starts with machine learning first, right? Basic step. And then it's more intelligence as data models learn these behaviors and all that and processes, what people do manually, right? And there are some things in between like RPA and stuff like that that is being adopted at a higher pace than generally what we put everything under AI, right? So RPA is doing good.
Talk about the ongoing pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you believe will be the new normal for the world of tech?
That's a loaded question. The new norm, okay, assuming that this crisis goes away pretty fast, if it does, which it doesn't seem like it's going to go away anytime soon, like not in the next 2-3 weeks, it might be months. The longer it stays there, more normal it becomes for us to work in a certain way. Like, so it will become, certain things will become habits, or we will be okay with certain newer behaviors, right? So if it turns on quickly, I think it will not change much behavior, but definitely we will rethink our supply chains, like how we procure stuff, how much stuff we procure, how much, even at household level, right? Forget about business, how much groceries we put at home, how much water we have at home, bottled water, stuff like that, how much toilet paper we have. Like one of the worst thing happening in the stores in the beginning was people are just snatching toilet paper from each other, in stores. It's crazy, right? So it impacts us all. I think we will not forget this for a long time to come as businesses and as individuals. Um, yeah, I think it stays longer than, for example, I think certain in this scenario also, like the use cases differ, right? So in for example, in education, schools are closed right now. The kids are being taught remotely, but they're taught like with kind of inefficient tools. Schools were not prepared to do that. They're grappling with the situation even here in the Bay Area. So if it prolongs longer, then these school districts will buy newer set of technologies gradually, and then because kids cannot stay at home for a long time, for a couple of months, 1 month, 2 months, they're learning at a lower pace. Is fine, but it can be months, like let's say 6 months or a year or longer, right? So and yeah, so I think it depends upon how long this crisis kind of prolongs.
So, so this will force businesses to improve, you're saying?
Yeah, definitely it is. It is forcing businesses to rethink their procurement processes, their supply chain management, their like how much supplies of what they have, and how do they produce stuff, how do they distribute it, and yeah, how do they service products and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So, to the next question, can you clear a few doubts that most businesses have during the initial stage when contemplating about going for a cloud solution?
So what are the considerations in the initial phase? Yeah. It's okay. At end of the day, it's always, people always keep in mind the cost. How much it'll cost them, right? Economics drives most of the decisions. But besides that, it's the vendor's viability, right? And that's important, right? And that's why most of the time, most of the business is going to top three cloud vendors, right? And then on top of that, the skill sets in house, like if you're a Microsoft shop, for example, you will pick Azure most of the time. And also it depends like what you are trying to do. Are you who are you, like like, are you a Fortune 500 company or a smaller company? Are you a government agency? There are different sort of processes to pick different vendors, right? So besides the technology stack, what are the offerings, like what are the features in each cloud, right? It's economics, it's your skill set of your people. It's also um, the the number of applications you have, how much you want to move to the cloud, uh, and yeah, those are the few things I can think of from the top of my head. But besides that, there are about 20 factors when we move the applications to the cloud. There are a lot of factors. If you dig deeper, it's the age of application. Is it homegrown application or it's a vendor provided application, right? How many connections that application has with other applications, the dependencies, what we call it, right? How old the application is, because that determines like if it can be moved as is or it needs to be refactored, or we have to change the code and stuff like that.
Do you think many people are aware about this, about all these factors?
I mean, yes, cloud is also unfortunately still after like 10 years of code. Definitely about 6-7 years for most of the people, but like some people have been doing it longer. It's still there's so many misconceptions, right, about the cloud, and it's the reason is because cloud is a very overloaded term, number one, right? So we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, and within that there are like differences, and the lines between infrastructure as a service and platform as a service are very, very blurry, right? So, and we also don't have like standard unit of measurement, or we call UMs, like a CPU or a core. Actually, a core at Amazon is not same thing as core in Oracle Cloud or AWS. So you cannot compare the cost of two different clouds easily. So the pricing is different. The pricing models are different. So and the biggest misconceptions are in the sport area. People think that once you put something in the cloud, that everything becomes cloud providers' responsibility, especially in the infrastructure as a service consumption model. So that is not true. And people who do that, they know that. People who end up moving to cloud, or people who are cloud providers, they know that security is always your responsibility. They are only responsible for ping, pipe, and power, what we call it, right? And after that, like, you have to make sure your firewalls are up, and your application security is your responsibility. Yeah. There are so many misconceptions about cloud still.
So it'll take some time for us to get there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Different companies are in different sort of stages. Some companies are well educated; their workforce is well educated in it. The thing with cloud is that, like any other thing, is that you start small and you grow into it. You cannot say all of a sudden we're going to move, these 5,000 applications to the cloud in 2 years, or like all in like big bang approach doesn't work with cloud. Never works, never will, because the thing is, cloud is less of a technology change, and it's more of a people and processes change. On one side, on the other side, it's a economics model change. It changes the way you do the finances of your operations, if you will. It changes the way you have the financial books are written, right? So on one side is financial model change. On the other side is people, processes, and technology change. And from that side, people and processes are more like hard to change than technology, right? So from that point of view, it will take a long time to get there, because in the beginning, your people have to learn how to log a ticket and who will fix it, and stuff like that. And the processes are to adopt, like how do you log a ticket, right? And who gets it next? And that's just one example. That similar example. Another example is how do you request a server, and how it's given to you, and who pays for it, and all that stuff. So processes have to change also. Yeah.
With your experience in technology, what do you believe lies in the future of conversational intelligence? And how is it going to change the world of customer service?
Yeah. I think conversational intelligence, future of conversational intelligence is pretty good, because the voice recognition is improving, right? And these voice recognition models are improving, right? So they are able to understand different accent and stuff like that, different dialects and all that, right? Mm-hmm. In the beginning, it was like, if you look like 5 years back, it was pretty bad, and as compared to today, for example, right? Alexa and other Google Voice and stuff like that, they can easily understand most of the accents. So that helps a lot. And on top of that, behind the scenes, machine learning and other AI sort of algorithms are improving at the same time, right? So training the data models, right? Mm-hmm. Using the data science, that's improving. Like, that's where sort of rubber meets the road. Means like, if somebody says, I need to change my airline ticket, then, and they may use that phone number people are calling from the phone, from the ID, right? The caller ID, to pull up the right record beforehand. Or they can say, just enunciate the confirmation number, stuff like that, and then it pulls the right records and it does the right things. So it's not only the voice recognition, but it's engines behind it. I think they are sort of they will take it to the next level.
Is there something you'd like to share with our viewers?
Something, I think keeping the current situation in mind, just stay positive. Most of us are working from home. Stay active, because when we go out, like we have some physical activity, but when we're sitting at home, we can be just sitting at one place or in a shorter location. So stay healthy, stay active, and stay busy actually, because that reduces the anxiety levels, because anxiety levels go up actually, especially people who are living in metro areas, and there are many cases in those areas. For example, in New York, in the US, people must be more anxious than we are in California, for example. So stay positive and stay healthy, and make sure you keep your immune system up.
Thank you so much, SarbJeet. It was lovely talking to you.
Thanks, Vanessa. It was nice talking to you.